Rico Hizon. Happening in about half an hour's time, the first official presidential debate. This is organized by the Commission on Elections. It is the first of 3 presidential debates the poll body is holding before the May 9th elections. 7 sitting and former government officials, a labor leader, a Muslim candidate, and a cardiologist, all hoping to lead the nation for the next 6 years. We will get to know more about these candidates in a while, but only 9 out of the 10 presidential candidates will be joining the face-off tonight as Bongbong Marcos decided not to attend this face-off. Security is currently tight at the Sofitel Hotel as we await COMELEC's first presidential debate. We cross over now to our very own Melissa Lopez. She is outside the venue in Pasay City. Mel, thank you so much for joining us for this pre-debate special. What can we expect in tonight's event?
That's right, Rico. 9 of the 10 presidential candidates are joining the official COMELEC debate today. All of them are now here and are resting in their respective holding areas inside the Sofitel Harbor Garden tent. There's a desk there for them to sit on, some seats, and of course, some refreshments. We are half an hour away from the debates. They will stay there along with up to 10 other people who are with them. They may be part of their family or campaign staff until they are called to prepare to rise on the stage for the debate, which starts at 7. They were given a 5 p.m. call time, but businessman Faisal Mangondato and Dr. lawyer Jose Montemayor were already there before 4 p.m. The rest arrived soon after in this order: Senator Ping Lacson, Labor Leader Leody de Guzman, former Secretary Norberto Gonzales, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno, former Palace spokesman Ernie Abella, Vice President Leni Robredo, and Senator Manny Pacquiao right at 6 p.m. Former Senator Bongbong Marcos is skipping the debates again. He chose to attend a campaign sortie in Marikina this afternoon as he remains on top of early pre-elections surveys. Those joining today's debate say they're ready to engage in an intellectual discourse. We got to talk to some of them, and some took a swipe against Marcos, saying if he wants to be president, he should demonstrate his wit before the Filipino people. Tonight, they will discuss the COVID-19 pandemic and economic recovery for a 2-hour debate. The debaters are not allowed to bring any código or notes with them, no coaching from staff members either. On stage, COMELEC will provide sheets of paper to help them organize their thoughts the moment questions are raised. Of course, COMELEC has said there will be or there have no advanced questions have been given to them. All bets will deliver opening and closing statements, and during the debate proper, they will have 90 seconds to respond, plus 30 seconds to clarify a point. Journalist Lucy Cruz Valdez will moderate the discussions. She will fire the questions and keep the time for the candidates. COMELEC expects these debates, it's a series of debates until next month, to help Filipinos choose the right leader for the country for the next 6 years. Rico, back to you.
Thank you so much, Melissa Lopez, for giving us an update on the presidential debate of the Commission on Elections live right outside the Sofitel Harbor Garden tent in Pasay City. Well, despite steering clear of most presidential debates, Bongbong Marcos leads the pack in Pulse Asia's latest survey, but other candidates are unfazed, while at least 2 aspirants are doubting the results. Our senior correspondent, Anjo Limario, has the details.
The dictator's son and namesake Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos is still a top choice for president in the latest Pulse Asia survey. His 60% rating remains unchanged. His camp says their opponents are still having a hard time connecting with Filipino voters. The survey was conducted from February 18 to 23, or before the massive campaign rallies of Vice President Leni Robredo. Robredo's numbers dropped by 1%, but she's not worried.
So too early ito para sabihin na hindi na tayo makakahabol or talon-talo tayo.
Robredo says in 2016 her numbers started picking up by late March and April. While her ranking has yet to improve, attacks against her have already intensified. For someone who's been a victim of disinformation for the past 6 years, Robredo says she's already used to it.
So yung sa akin, kung ang intent niya i-derail yung efforts na ginagawa natin, nagsasayang sila ng oras.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno is in solo third with 10%.
Salamat sa Diyos. But again, the same answer, we will continue to be with people, reach as many kilometers as possible, reach as many eyeball as possible.
Senator Manny Pacquiao follows with 8% and Senator Panfilo Lacson with 2%. Both find the results hard to believe.
Base sa akin, no, sa sarili ko naramdaman sa ground, parang hindi ko kayang tanggapin na pagkatapos pa ng mga presidential forums, saka mga interviews, lalo pa akong lalagapak.
Zero, grabe. Sino kaya maniwala, no? Dapat tinanong nila yung baka yung mga mayayaman lang tinanong nila. Hindi nila tinanong yung mga mahihirap na tao.
Presidential candidate Roberto Gonzales vows to continue reaching out to voters despite lagging in surveys.
Hindi na ko nakikita ang lakas ng eleksyon sa paramihan ng rally, palakihan ng pahabaan ng motorcade. Sa akin, ang pinaka-importante ay yung makita, nauunawaan na ba ng sambayan ng Pilipino ang direksyon.
In General Santos City, Anjo Mario, CNN Philippines.
And joining us now this evening for this pre-debate special are field experts, economist Krista Yu of De La Salle University and health reform advocate Dr. Tony Leachon. They are joining us via Zoom. Good evening to you both to this CNN Philippines special presentation. As reported by Anjo Mario in his report, Bongbong Marcos still leads the Pulse Asia survey despite being absent in a number of presidential forums, debates, and interviews. Will another presidential debate make a difference in your decision and the electorate's decision on who they should vote for on May 9th? Let's start off with you, Krista. Krista, you're on mute.
Good evening, Rico. Yeah, so thank you for having me. What's nice about these debates is it's a way for the presidentiables to present their platforms. Now, each debate has its own theme and they ask different questions, and they are able to scrutinize and cross-examine each presidentiable's platform. And the candidates taking advantage of this would benefit from this debate.
And for you, Dr. Leachon, do you think that these upcoming debates, or this tonight's debate and the two others that will be coming right after that, will still change your decision who you will vote for? And what about the Filipino electorate?
Well, I think the presentation of a clear platform or a blueprint for change would definitely set out a clear position of the candidate on what important issues, particularly on my side on health, what would be their main agenda. And this would actually, lead the nation and even lead the people in thinking what's best for the country. And in an organized debate like this, competing with the best, you will be in the same platform so that when you win, if you're basically, say, a front-runner or not a front-runner, then the people would know that they would reflect on certain issues that reflect their integrity, their competence, their type of leadership, their vision, and of course, their moral courage. So I think debates are very important because this would test the true leadership or genuine leadership of a particular candidate.
Krista, one of the major focus of tonight's debate is economy and jobs. What is the most important economic issue in your view that you hope candidates will address in tonight's debate?
I do hope that the candidates would look into future-proofing the Philippine economy. The next challenge of the Philippine economy might not be another pandemic. So we have to think of different jobs in the future. Innovation is tied with long-term economic growth. And we have look at the economic superpowers. And they draw their power from innovation and technology. And that's what we have to look into. How are the presidentiables moving towards this sustainability and science and technology? The Philippines' research and development spending is among the lowest in the world. Our output is also lagging behind our ASEAN neighbors. Our ASEAN neighbors are actually realizing this. That's why they're putting more budget into science and technology, whereas the Philippines has declined over time. Another thing that we can look into is sustainability, climate change adaptation, and disaster risk strategies and preparedness. So our geographic location makes us vulnerable to extreme weather such as typhoons and storm surge, in addition to sea level rise, rising temperatures, and rainfall variability. These all would affect our agriculture sector and have an impact on food security and livelihood of Filipinos.
So we will find out over the next 2 hours if indeed our presidential candidates will address this issue of future proofing. Dr. Leachon, on your end, you've been an active voice in your views on the government's pandemic response since day one. What are you hoping to hear from the candidates in tonight's debate in terms of transitioning to the new normal?
Well, as a presidential aspirant, I would be keen on listening on the COVID exit plan of the candidates, because we know that this particular pandemic response will roll over to the next administration. I'd like to understand that that this would link also to economy, because the faster we can actually exit from this pandemic issue will actually open up more opportunities for job generation and of course economy, and bring back our lives to normalcy. So I'd like also to hear the first 100 days on how they will organize the government. What is their overriding philosophy to the health of the Filipinos? And what would be the health priorities of this administration, given that we have already assigned universal healthcare law, and how they would actually fast track the implementation of this particular law signed by the president in 2019. This and many more will be very important to me in shaping the minds of the Filipino, because we want to hope, we want to dream, but we want to participate in nation building by the particular president that will be chosen by the people on May 9.
And before we continue this discussion, we're seeing live pictures right now from the Sofitel Harbor Garden Front venue where the presidential debate is taking place. All the candidates are currently on stage. 9 out of the 10 presidential candidates are currently picking from a bowl, maybe a number of maybe which particular presidential candidate will be going first. Before we continue with our discussion, we will find out from our expert guests, can debates really change or influence a voter come election day? And we'll find out from them when we come back. You're watching a CNN Philippines special presentation. This is a CNN Philippines special presentation. In just a few minutes, we'll be witnessing our presidential candidates face off in the first of a series of debates organized by the Commission on Elections. We're still joined by health advocate Dr. Tony Leachon and economist Krista Yu of De La Salle University. Krista, let's get back to you. No? This fuel price hike is making a huge impact in the country today. The government has tried to answer this fuel price hike through targeted subsidies and dole-outs. What do you think should voters be mindful of when assessing the candidates' plans to address this very pressing issue for our kababayans?
Thank you for bringing that up. Fuel price is actually brought about by an external shock, something that we have no control over. What government can do is just respond through taxes and or subsidies. So what we could look into is minimizing the transaction cost that could be brought about by distributing the benefits to reduce the fuel price. So what you can look at is actually consider a candidate that would minimize this transaction cost.
Dr. Leachon, Metro Manila and several parts of the country are now under the lowest alert level with the least restrictions. And based on a recent survey by Publicus Asia, the economy and jobs are at the top of election issues among voters. Do you think the candidates' pandemic response plans will still matter to the electorate when they vote on May 9th?
Well, I think it's very important to understand that health is really vital to the economy. Now, we're right now on the lowest level, which is alert level 1. And if we will actually reduce the viral transmission by keeping all the healthcare capacities in place, then we have a good chance right now of maintaining this particular status quo. And the moment that we are, on alert level 1, that's a good sign that we can keep up with the economy and address this particular fuel hike. I think health is really wealth, and a nation's health is nation's wealth. And therefore, the role of the current leadership is to maintain that particular pandemic response at the status quo level. We know that there are surges in other countries, and we hope to be prepared as well, just in case this would come to our country.
Let's now take a look at the candidates' participation in the presidential debates and forums. And only one candidate had a complete attendance, including tonight's debate. Others were not invited to some of the debates, while one was absent in all but one debate. Let's start off with you, Dr. Leachon. Is this a concern for you?
Well, it's a concern for me because a leader should always show up. And this would also indicate the level of competence, their level of their interest, as well as their level of moral courage. I mean, to be on the same platform with the best leaders and to compete, it's just not about winning. It's just about also winning also the public in terms of your answers, as well as the clarity of your thoughts and the roadmap. I think Filipinos would like to see a leader that will bring them to a promised land, because in the midst of pandemic, a lot of people are depressed and anxious. So we want a leader with moral courage and a vision to direct us to the right path.
What about for you, Krista? Is it a concern for you that candidates are not participating in presidential debates and presenting their full economic recovery plan to the people?
I do agree with Dr. Leachon that candidates should maximize their opportunity to present their platform to the electorate. This allows the electorate to have a clear vision and full information on what they have on the plate. So choices are very important, and the way candidates behave should be scrutinized by the electorate.
So right now, we're counting down to the COMELEC's first presidential debate. We will get more updates in tonight's most awaited political showdown. Keep it right here on CNN Philippines.